Hello everybody, it's Clarity Monday here at the Step by Step Listening page, and today's subject is timing everything. Last week you probably saw a lot of posts on Facebook about mental health awareness, and it's absolutely great to see people out there sharing their stories. And I have some concerns about it. I'm concerned for the system as a whole, and I've been hanging off, and I do think timing is everything, but I'm going to share from my heart what's going on in my head. And please know that I don't have all the answers. So if you have information that I don't have access to and you want to share it, please put it in there, because that might help me. Well, it will help me update my system, and then I can make more informed decisions as a result of it. My concern is that whenever we express something, so we may be encouraged to talk about how we feel, okay? And so we tell people, so people are sharing their stories online, which is great. Because what that does instantly, in my experience, is those that are in private, who don't have the language or the ability to articulate or the confidence or the courage, whatever the reason is, but they're not in that space, it's not the right time for them to express their world. When they see and hear other people expressing something that sounds like and is similar to how they feel, there's that instant relief. So in my book, Manage Your Critic, I talk about it. Oh, thank goodness it's not just me. So I want to just say to you that I think it's really great that we're sharing it. My biggest fear, though, is that people are being asked to speak, and then they go to their doctors, and their doctors will maybe put them on medication to help them to deal with the chemical imbalances that are going on in their bodies, and they may put them into iTalk or counselling, and they'll have like 6 weeks. And some people, it takes 6 sessions or 6 weeks to actually have the confidence to say what they really think and what they're really feeling, because they've never done it before. And I know that in our local community, some of the mental health support groups that are around in the area have got like 2 years waiting lists. So I'm on a mission to say to you that if you have got somebody who's going through a really difficult time and you want to be able to listen to them better, because that you don't have access to them, somebody that can do it, or you want to talk to me just to find out what kind of listening they need, because sometimes we need to have time to express that the sadness, the fear, the scare that's going on. We need to have that horrible feeling that we're having inside honoured. And what can happen if we've got really lovely friends, we will have friends that will just listen to it, which is great. And I wasn't this kind of friend. I had to learn to become this friend, which is why I changed from being the strength and solution detective to the listening detective, is because who I am innately as a person is I hear a problem and I physically feel it when somebody else is in pain. And so I'm keen to help them feel better. And it took me a long time to work out that's because it was making me feel uncomfortable. So when I learnt as a clean language facilitator to be aware of my emotions and feelings and separate it from, well, they're over there feeling that and I'm over here feeling this, I was able then to listen to that person. And some people need to and want to, and there is a value in telling the story and talking about the problem, okay? And it takes skill and patience and tolerance to listen to that. And one of the things I find with my clients is their biggest fear is, what if I make things worse? And if you're listening and you're honouring them and you're asking them a question like, is this working for you? Does it work or doesn't? And you're getting them to give you feedback. They're checking in with themselves whether this is working or not working. Then you're going to work in collaboration. It is not down to you just to do the listening in just the right way. If you set it up accordingly, you say, look, I don't know that I've got the skills and resources to listen to you, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And I'm going to ask you some questions. And I want you to check in with yourself. Are the questions working for you? And if not, what kind of questions would work for you? Hi, Russell. You're always really great at watching the videos and liking them, so thank you for joining me. I'd love to know, because you're in your business world, I'm sure you get the point where you're having to listen to people, and there's this massive talk about mental health awareness. And I'm just saying that one of the biggest questions people get from me is that they're scared that they might say or do the wrong thing if somebody is upset. And so I'm just saying that there is a time when timing is important, and people need to be given time to talk about what's not working. And we have to be okay with that. And if you're a fixer or a problem solver, sometimes we try and get into fixing the problem too quickly. And so giving people that time to express before you respond. And sometimes just learning to hold that space for a little bit longer than you would naturally do. Not even asking a question, just holding that space. and spend more time actually looking at the person and just noticing, does anything change about them physiology? They look more uptight, they look more stressed, is anything changing? And if you don't know, don't assume, ask them a question. You're guilty of jumping in. Russell's just went guilty. I think they say it's a men gender thing. I don't think it's gender, because I'm a fixer. You missed the beginning of the video, is that when other people are in pain, I actually physically feel the pain, and I had to learn to separate that's my discomfort with their discomfort, if you like, and I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable long enough to let that person have their painful thing heard and understood. And people will repeat the story over and over again, and we can become very intolerant as the listener, thinking they're going over and again. And I'd say to you, as the listener, just put your hands up, and maybe you interrupted, or you tried to fix, or you jumped in, and therefore they didn't feel like their story's been heard, and therefore they repeat it, or they're repeating it, but they didn't tell you the whole story the first time round, because they didn't have the courage, or they didn't even know that happened. In the first telling, they might go, oh, didn't realise that. So listen. If you find yourself getting agitated because there's a repeat coming up, listen for the little bit that's different this time, and find ways to honour it, even if it's just a nod or a smile or a gesture or empathy. Because I've learned, people come to me as a coach, they come at that point where they've told the story loads and loads of time, and they're fed up of it, and they want to find a solution. So they want their story heard initially, and they don't want that story don't want to tell the same story, so they want the story to change. So I've got their permission, I've got a contract with them in order to ask a question saying, what would you like to have happen? I.e., what do you want instead? But if you on an everyday conversation don't have that contract, then you have to allow people that time to express their story without interruption. And that might be that for you, and that's where you might come to someone like me, is you might go, I need to learn more patience, or I need to be comfortable with that uncomfortable feeling when it seems like they're repeating themselves, because timing's everything. For you might be wanting to get straight to the solution because you think it's obvious to you what the problem is, and you want to fix it. But every time you interrupt, they go back to the beginning of the story and tell it again. And actually, so it doesn't save you any time. It doesn't make you more efficient. And so I just want to put it out there with all the mental health awareness stuff that's going on last week. I was aware if I said anything, there was a lot of sharing. It's really important that people do share, that they can say to people, I'm feeling low. But I know for me, when I was going through a tough time 5 or 6 years ago with my daughter, I was on the floor in heaps saying to my husband, I just want to die. And that's awful for my husband to have to listen to that. It's really tough. Fortunately, because of the training I've had, I could sort of see that it was having a negative impact on him, and I was able to sort of snap myself out of it and just explain to him, I don't really want to die, but I need you to ask me these questions. And I was able to reassure him I don't want to. And he asked me some questions about, well, what kind of die is that? And when you die, then what happens? And he was just listened and allowed me to be with that. And basically what I really wanted was the pain of failure to go away. I felt such a failure as a mother that I was helping loads of mums and daughters to have their lives working well, and I couldn't do it myself. And I still have moments of that right now where I'm helping other people to have successful whatever it is, and then I have a bit of comparisonitis. I go, oh, I'm not very good at that. The difference is because I regularly take time out to notice those niggles, they don't build up over time. So just going back to timing is everything, is the time you can give somebody. If you've got somebody who you think's got mental health issues, a mental health problem, or you think they're a bit low or depressed or whatever, it can be really scary listening to them, because you can be afraid that you're going to make things worse. And what I want you to know is that stuff's going on in their head anyway. If you honour that space and hold it without judgment, with love, without contempt, and you can hold it and listen to it without trying to fix it or change it or make it better, and just hold that space, listen for longer, listen to the story more times than you're naturally comfortable with, and then the most important thing is to notice what changes. Just notice what's happening for them in their ability to tell that story. And if you're really struggling, then there's people like me that can support you while you're supporting them. Because I'm a coach, and I spend a lot of time listening to people that are going through massive change or want to create massive change in the world, or in their individual relationships or in their own world. and I'm the one that's listening to them, so they can get clarity and confidence of how they want to show up in their relationships or how they want to show up in their business. And I have a coach that helps me. So this Friday I will spend a whole day with my coach, and I have someone that I dedicated time in my diary where I've got someone I can go and talk to, and all the things that have niggled me or anything that's unsettling me, I can unpack them without having to worry about whether I upset her, whether it's offensive or whether it's politically correct or whatever. I can just say, if I'm feeling pants, I can say about it. If I want to cry about something, I can. If I want to celebrate and brag and boast about something that's absolutely, I think I'm really amazing at, and maybe I haven't felt okay to do that in a public arena because other people are feeling a bit naff, that might be one of my things. I can do that on Friday, and what that does is resource me to be able to manage myself, my own time, and other people. So just be aware that timing is everything, and giving people your time to listen is really, really important. And when we're doing these massive things about mental health awareness, I don't know what it's like in the States for you, Russell, but in the UK, there's a kind of a mindset. You go to your doctor because it's free, you get 6 counselling sessions, and you might get some eye talk, and then it stops. Well, in my experience, this is a lifelong journey to develop mental strength. And so 6 sessions actually doesn't really help people. There's other support groups in our local neighbourhood. It's a 2-year waiting list. And so I'm really concerned that people are having this raised awareness of mental health. That is great because you feel like you're not on your own. But then where do you go? Who do you have in your network? And I think we have a responsibility as friends, as family members, as parents, as bosses and managers. We're going to have to learn how to listen to more people with more tolerance, more patience, and the skill to be able to give them that space, and also to know when you're not resourced, when you're not the right person for them to talk to right now, because you can't honour that space for them because you've got your own stuff going on. So we have, I think as a community, a responsibility. If we're going to raise awareness of mental health, we're going to make it so people can publicly talk about their difficult times, then we also have a responsibility to make sure we all get better at listening. And I'll put my hands up. I'm not always the best when I'm not in my workspace. I'm a human being like everybody else. I still have to work on that. And what I know works for me is to have regular time in my diary where I have unconditional listening, where I can just unpack whatever's going on in my mind so that I'm free of my own stuff. And then when I'm with other people, I can listen and just honour everything that's going on for them. So I hope this video has been of use to you. Let me know when you're guilty. You've put there, Russell, what kind of guilty is that? And also, as a result of listening to this, what's the one thing you'd like to do differently or could do differently in terms of your own listening for the week ahead? And please come back on Friday's video and tell us what's changed. If you practice something or you're going to apply something from the videos, then let me know, because that would be great. Have a fantastic week, everybody, and I'll speak to you soon.